So students, we are going to continue with the pharynx. In the last two lectures, I gave you a short description of the oropharynx and the nasopharynx. Now the last one is the laryngopharynx, which is the lower part. Diagram, it is shown by the purple color, the laryngopharynx, which is also the lower part, and in the first diagram it is shown by the purple color. It is the lower part and it is situated behind the laryngeal inlet, or you can say inlet of laryngeal. It extends from the upper border of the epiglottis to the lower border of the cricoid cartilage, where it becomes continuous with the esophagus. The structures which are lying anteriorly, it is facing anteriorly to the inlet of the laryngeal and posterior surface of the arytenoid and cricoid cartilages, which are the cartilages of the larynx. Posteriorly related to the bodies of the C4 to C6 cervical vertebrae, but mainly C4 and C5. Posterior wall here, it is formed by the three constrictor muscle of the pharynx down to the level of the vocal cords. Lower part of the pharynx is also called hypopharynx. Here is the lateral wall, which you can see in the diagram. This lateral wall in the second diagram, the lateral wall here, it consists of or present a depression or depressed area which is called piriform fossa or recess on each side of the laryngeal inlet. That fossa is limited above by the hyoid bone, below by the lower border of the cricoid cartilage, and medially by the arytenoid and aryepiglottic folds of the larynx, and laterally by the thyroid membrane and thyroid cartilage of the larynx. As you know that the pharynx is lined by the mucosa. So beneath the mucosa of this piriform fossa, there lies the branches of internal laryngeal nerve and superior laryngeal vessels. They are lying beneath the mucosa. Foreign body may lodge in this fossa. Foreign body may be like the fishbone mostly, and it is the danger site for perforation by an endoscope. Removal of the foreign body can sometimes lead to injury to the internal laryngeal nerve, which causes the anesthesia of the supraglottic part of the larynx. So these are the three parts of the pharynx. Now we come to the structure of the pharynx. You can see in this diagram, this is how the wall of the pharynx is formed. Okay, pharynx is formed by which structures? So the pharyngeal wall, or you can say the wall of the pharynx, is composed of 5 layers from within outwards. That is, the most inner layer is the mucous membrane, or you can say mucosa, which you can see in this diagram. Then is the submucosa, then fibrous coat, muscular coat, and the outer one is the facial coat, a facial layer. Mucous membrane or mucosa, it is continuous with that of the auditory tube, nasal and oral cavities, and laryngeal cavity. The mucous membrane of the pharynx is continuous with these cavities. Here, mucosa, it is, and the epithelium is here, pseudostratified columnar ciliated epithelium in the nasopharynx, while in stratified squamous epithelium lying the oropharynx and the laryngopharynx. Stratified columnar epithelium lies at the junction between these two types. Mixed glands are present here. So this is the mucous membrane, then is the submucosa, then is the fibrous coat or fibrous sheet. It is thick above, forming the pharyngobasilar fascia, which lies internal to the constricted muscle. Then we come to the muscular coat. Muscular coat consists of an outer circular layer which is made up of the 3 constrictors, superior, middle, and inferior constrictor muscles. As you can see in the diagram, superior, middle, and inferior constrictor. and the inner longitudinal layer, which is made up of stylopharynges, salpingopharynges, and platopharynges muscles. These you are going to study later on with the muscles of the pharynx. Then we come to the facial coat, which is the outer coat. It consists of pharyngobasilar fascia and it is best developed in the upper part. It covers the outer surface of the constrictor muscle of the pharynx and extend across the buccinator muscle and blend above with the pharyngobasilar fascia. Here, one important thing you should know that between the buccopharyngeal fascia and the muscular coat, there are pharyngeal plexus of veins and nerves, which is shown in the diagram. In the venous plexus, they lie in the buccopharyngeal fascia and the muscular coat. So now we come to the blood supply of the pharynx. Pharynx is chiefly supplied by the ascending pharyngeal branch of the external carotid artery. Then it is also supplied by the ascending palatine and tonsillar branches of the facial artery, dorsal lingual branch of the lingual artery, and then greater palatine, pharyngeal, and pterygopalatine branches of the maxillary artery. But the main blood supply is through the external carotid artery, that is pharyngeal branch. The nerve supply is through the pharyngeal plexus of nerve, which is chiefly lying on the middle constrictor muscle of the pharynx. This plexus is formed by the pharyngeal branch of the vagus and the glossopharyngeal nerve, and the pharyngeal branches of the superior cervical sympathetic ganglion. Motor supply in the plexus, they are derived from the cranial accessory nerve through branch of the vagus nerve and supply all the muscles of the pharynx and soft palate except the stylopharynges, which is supplied by the ninth cranial nerve, that is glossopharyngeal nerve, and tensor veli palatini, which is supplied by the mandibular division of the fifth nerve or trigeminal nerve. Sensory fibers in this plexus are from the glossopharyngeal nerve mostly and partly through the vagus nerve. They supply greater part of all three parts of the pharynx, while the parasympathetic scrutomotor fibers, they are coming through the greater petrosal branch of the facial nerve. And the lymphatic drainage is into the retropharyngeal and deep cervical lymph nodes. So this was all about the pharynx. You can see in the lateral wall, especially in the lateral wall of the oropharynx, nasopharynx, and it also in the lower part of the tongue, there are group of tonsils are lying there. As I told you before, that is pharyngeal tonsil, tubal tonsils, palatine tonsil, and the other group is lying below the tongue, that is lingual tonsils. So they lie around the mucosa, which is associated around which surround the opening of the digestive system and the respiratory system. This lymphatic ring is called Waldeyer ring or lymphatic ring. This ring is a circumpharyngeal ring of mucosa associated with the lymphoid tissue which surrounds the opening into the digestive and respiratory tract. It is made up of anterior-inferiorly by the lingual tonsils, laterally by the palatine and tubal tonsils, and posterior-superiorly by the nasopharyngeal tonsils. And smaller collection of lymphoid tissue is present in the intertonsil interval. It is often assumed that this tissue acts as a barrier to spread of infection, but function of this lymphatic ring is actually obscure. So this was all about the pharynx, their blood supply, nerve supply. In the applied amyloid inflammation of the pharynx is called pharyngitis, and which is a common condition. So this was all about the pharynx. If you have any question, you can email at this address.